It's a non-conference showdown in Tuscaloosa as Alabama and Wisconsin get set to do battle. We are here previewing, predicting, and breaking down this game between the Crimson Tide and the Badgers. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips. He's Cole the Bear Thompson. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, where we get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. And as always, we are powered by our friends over at FANDUEL. Visit FANDUEL.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FANDUEL.com/SECU to get $250 in bonus bets today. Alabama takes on Wisconsin on the home turf, non-conference showdown before it really turns up and gets going in SEC play in just a few short weeks. Guys, we are here previewing, predicting, and breaking down this SEC versus Big Ten matchup between the Crimson Tide and the Badgers. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips. Joining me, as he always does, my partner in crime, one of the best in the business to do it, Cole the Bear Thompson. Bear, what's going on, man? Appreciate you taking the time. Excited to break down this matchup with you.
Bottom line, Alabama, I'm not changing my opinion on you regardless of what happens in this game. You won 73-0 against ULM as expected. You should be able to hold your own against a Wisconsin team that had its fair share of struggles against Miami of Ohio. The only way that I'm changing my opinion on you is if somehow Danny O'Neal and this Badger-led offense underneath Jeff Grimes is able to march on into Tuscaloosa and have that same type of mentality that Tommy Castellanos carried himself in his backyard where you got a loss. But Alabama, this should be a game that you are able to manage. This should be a game that you feel very confident in yourself. But also, just a reminder, it's a Power 4 opponent. What you did on Saturday, better do again if you want the narrative to change anytime soon.
Yeah, Bear, certainly it's a big one when you think about what it sets up. Alabama at 1-1. Obviously, that loss to Florida State in the opener. Beat ULM handily last week. Then you got Wisconsin, of course, the one we're talking about. Bye week, then you're at Georgia. So obviously what it sets up, what it means as you look to continue to build confidence when you look at this Wisconsin team. They sit at 2-0, but the results have been kind of less than inspiring. You beat Miami of Ohio in week 1, 17-0 in a game that was pretty close throughout. And then, Bear, you mentioned actually yesterday to me the Middle Tennessee State game because you look at it 42-10. Oh, it's a blowout. It was 14-10 at half, and this is a Middle Tennessee State team that lost to Austin Peay in their first game. So it's been an interesting start to the season for Wisconsin. Certainly, they're going to learn a lot more about what they have on Saturday. They're going again. This one taking place Saturday, September the 13th, 11 a.m. Central Time kickoff on ABC. So wake up, get your coffee, get ready to go if you're down there in Tuscaloosa, Alabama at Bryant Denny Stadium. Bear, Bama is a 20.5-point favorite in this football game. The over-under is set at 46.5. Bama leads the all-time series 2-1. Of course, last meeting came last year where Alabama won that game handily behind Jalen Milroe and company, 42-10. Bears, we talk about this game, some top storylines, if you will. You're right. The only way that I think, and you know, you want to build momentum, no doubt, but the only way that I think we're overreacting to a game like this is if Alabama loses, right? Like, you're expected to win. You're a 3-touchdown favorite. I am curious to see how Ty Simpson's able to build off what he did last week. I don't care who the opponent is. You go 17-17. That's pretty darn impressive to me. So I'll be watching for that, but Bear, what are the specifics you want to see from this Alabama football team when it comes to, because again, this game, it's not about if you win or lose, because if you don't win, we got some real problems. It's about how it happens and how it looks. How does it need to look in your mind to inspire confidence that maybe this Bama team is starting to somewhat turn a corner going into the bye week in the Georgia game?
Yeah, so you got to be great on third down execution. Wisconsin this year is number 16 in the country in third downs allowed. They're only giving up about 21.2% of the time. And Alabama last week was phenomenal at making the explosive plays. Here was the big marker. They also were pretty damn good on third down execution, 9-12. And I think the starters went 8 of 8 on third down execution. So they were polished, they were poised, they were directive. I got to make sure that you are constantly moving the sticks. You're making Wisconsin have to make adjustments on the fly. They're going to have to do a lot of rotating in and out when it comes to defensive line and at the linebacker spot. And then you take your shots downfield. That is the key element that I'm looking for. This has been one of the better third down teams in the first 2 weeks. Can you make them basically obsolete? And can you also take away their pass rush? Wisconsin, through the first 2 games, is currently 7th in the country when it comes to sacks. They have 8. They've averaged 4 per game. This offensive line had its fair share of struggles when it went up against Florida State. Florida State actually ranks below Wisconsin when it comes to sacks. In fact, significantly, they rank in the 40s. This is a top 10 pass rush. So Caden Proctor, Evan Formby, Parker Brailsford, Jaden Roberts fully back healthy. What are you guys going to look like going up against this defensive line to create opportunities for Ty Simpson to be able to make those connectivity plays downfield? The other thing that I'm looking for, listen, Jeremy Bernard has been awesome. He has been literally all you can ask for and then some this season. The last game, 3 catches, 67 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was the star of the Florida State game. One of the only offensive players to actually show up in Tallahassee that Saturday afternoon. But we all know the headliner is Ryan Williams. Didn't play last week because of the concussion protocol. Potentially going to play this week. Guys, he's making $1.6 million in NIL money. It's time to show up. It's time for you to actually drop the thing when it comes to T-Rex. Don't worry about what your nails look like. Don't worry about how you decide to play. Just show up and play football, man. Because I can tell you what, when you are at your peak, very few people can stop you. But a lot of people have been criticizing what Ryan Williams' potential is because of the Georgia game last year, where he put himself on the map, had weapons of mass destruction against a pair of Bulldogs defenders, won a game that probably should have been lost, and it altered the way that we viewed him. And you know what? Now you got to get back to that level before you take on Georgia in round 2. So you got to set the tone in this matchup if you play. I also would love to see more connectivity from other receivers like Lozier Brooks, like Isaiah Horton. He had a big-time touchdown grab for 29 yards. Love to see Cole Adams get involved. Show me that what worked last week offensively, especially in the passing attack with Ty Simpson, outside of Jeremy Bernard, because we know what he is as a dude at this point, can still be productive, and that it can be lethal, and that you can have a surgical type mentality that just picks apart and pries away all of these little hindrances that weren't available in that matchup against Florida State. That's what you're looking for from the Alabama side of things.
Bears, you take a look at Wisconsin. You mentioned Danny O'Neal, their quarterback, 35 of 46, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, been sacked 3 times on the year. They've rushed for 318 yards in their 2 wins. Dylan Jones, the leading rusher, 24 for 109. And in regards to receivers, they got 3 guys over 100 yards. Anthony Jr., Mason, Ballard. Again, Barry, like we can go through this, but again, this game I just feel like comes down to Alabama. Like it really does, because they're the vastly superior team in regards to a talent standpoint. What are we doing right now with Luke Fickell, right? His program, what's the situation there? I don't think there's a lot of optimism and hope that it's going to be a very good ball club this year. This game really does all come down to Alabama, the way they attack this game. I mean, I want to see a team fiercely attack this football game and go out not just to win, but to dominate. You did it against ULM. Congratulations. I don't really care. You could have won that game 300-0, and it would not have mattered to me. Go do it against a Power 4 opponent. Last Power 4 opponent I saw you against, you got mollywopped against Florida State. I don't think Wisconsin's nearly on Florida State's level, but the point still stands. So is Alabama able to go out there, a dominant performance? Do you start fast? I think that's going to be pivotal in this game too, getting off to a quick start. The home folks are going to be a bit restless if you're getting to the mid-second quarter, halftime, and this thing's a one-score game. So get off to a quick start. You're the better team, Bear, across the board. Go dominate. I want to see that mentality from Alabama show up on Saturday.
The thing that I am going to bring up, once again, Alabama cannot be undisciplined in this matchup. And I say that because of so far in 8 quarters of action, Wisconsin has 5 penalties. 5 total penalties. All 5 came against Miami of Ohio. None came against Middle Tennessee. They were perfect when it came to the little details that ended up helping them get back on top. It was 14-10 going into halftime. You had a big interception by Danny O'Neal, led to a scoring drive for the Blue Raiders. They could have easily taken over this game, but they didn't panic and they didn't shoot themselves in the foot. And sometimes That alone might be the one thing that is the difference between a win and a loss in a game to where you have your concerns. Alabama, once again, I can't believe I'm still saying this, but Alabama, once again, even in a 73-0 win, was the more penalized team than Louisiana Monroe for the second straight week. It's Louisiana Monroe, and I do not think that Wisconsin this season is going to be making noise in the Big Ten. If they get to a bowl game, I think that's a win in itself. But the bottom line is you cannot afford, hey, it's 3rd and 18. And then your defensive back makes a early hit, pass interference, gain of 15 yards, fresh set of downs. You can't afford to be on 3rd and 1 knowing that A.K. Deere is about ready to take it to the outside corner and you get a false start on Caden Proctor. You can't afford to have an illegal shift because of you're not lining up properly and doing the basic things in practice that these are supposed to be details that are refined before we get to Tuesday's install. Like that's what we're talking about. It's little things like that. Alabama's got to play discipline in this game. Alabama's got to play physical in this game, but they also have to play with a sense of urgency that is connective. That to me is going to be something I am monitoring. And if it gets out of hand and you give free plays away to Wisconsin, I don't think it's going to end up happening to where you win. But I do think that you will see a backdoor cover. I think that's going to happen. I think Danny O'Neal is talented enough to get that done. I think if they have enough receivers. The thing that's also really important is Wisconsin, despite the fact that right now they still are very underwhelming. You play down to the wire against Miami of Ohio. They're back to the Wisconsin of old in one spot. Tight end position. Lance Mason was awesome against the Blue Raiders. 7 catches, 102 yards, 14.6 yards of play. You got to find a way to eliminate him. You got to shut down the rushing attack, and you got to shut down the tight end. Because right now, Wisconsin is starting to gain back its identity, which is a ground and pound, physical, get the tight end and offensive line involved. They have a run game that is potent. They have a tight end that is now making plays. Can you make sure this offensive line is obsolete? Can you do that? Because it's going to be also the last game that you don't have Tim Keenan out there. So it's time to figure out also what do you have depth-wise for the squad before you get a bye week, recoup, recover, and then head on down to Athens, Georgia.
Bear, that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. Picks, predictions. You want to start first? You want me to take the honors here?
You go first on this one.
Gotcha. I'll tell you this, man. Again, do I draw any conclusions, take anything away from the ULM game? Not necessarily outside of the fact it was a great opportunity for you to go beat up on somebody else and feel good about yourself and build some momentum. I think being at home here, is going to help Alabama a lot. I do. I just don't think Wisconsin can go toe-to-toe with the Crimson Tide. I really don't. I don't think from a talent standpoint. Now, hopefully they're not thinking that way. I mean, I've got some scar tissue still, some PTSD from what we saw in week 1. I would like to think that served as sort of a wake-up call. I'm not saying Bama doesn't still have issues they got to figure out, but I think that served as a wake-up call for them. So I'm going to say that because you bounced back last week, but I still kind of look at this as you're still kind of bouncing back a little bit. Like you're still sort of trying to win back goodwill after what happened in week 1. I think you will start to do that again. I think you understand what's at hand in regards to you got the bye week next week. Georgia awaits down the road. If you're not clicking on all cylinders, you're not going to have a chance to go into Athens and win the football game. I think we will see Bama pull away late in this game. I think they cover. I don't know if it'll be an official play for me, but I think they do cover. I just think top to bottom, they are the better football team. I think Bama defensively, Bear, I think is a big takeaway from this one. And I think Ty Simpson keeps up his hot play. Give me Alabama 37, Wisconsin 13. I think they win. I think they win big. I don't trust anything the Badgers have in regards to being able to give Bama much fits. You're right, though. My God, can Alabama please, for the love of God, be a more disciplined team? Can we stop committing so many penalties and doing stupid things, shooting ourselves in the foot? Either way, I do think Bama wins. I think they win fairly comfortably. I just don't think it's an opponent from the Badgers that really can give Alabama much fits. But if it does go sideways, my God, it's going to be an ugly rest of your Saturday. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Alabama is just far too talented. I think they win this game. I think they win big.
I won't save you the theatrics. Alabama, on paper, should be able to win this game comfortably. They should. I said the same thing about Florida State. You should be able to win this game comfortably. Wisconsin against Middle Tennessee put up 456 yards of offense. They have the talent. Now, it's not as talented as Alabama's, but they have the talent to at least make this thing a game in the first half. The three elements that I'm looking for in this matchup. Number one, a fast start from Ty Simpson. We heard Ryan Grubb say that he didn't mentally prepare him for that matchup out in Doak Campbell Stadium and that he wasn't going to be complacent like that again. He would figure it out and he would make sure that everything was directive and in a position to where it was going to be successful moving forward for every single matchup. So can you have a fast start? Maybe it's with tight end execution. Maybe it's with a good ground game. Maybe it's just with a couple of dink and dunk passes out of the backfield. But regardless, can you have a fast start if you're Ty Simpson? Because that will set the tone for the rest of the game. Number two, can you avoid the careless penalties defensively that gives a second life to Wisconsin? Because to me, that's going to be a big difference maker in this game. If you can find a way to slow down the Badgers and make them have a lot of 3 and outs to give yourself a cushion, you may be okay giving up explosive play here or there. It may be fine to watch a 25-yard run or a big-time pass from Danny O'Neal to his tight end in Lance Mason. You may be okay living in this world of him connecting on the outside with Vincent Anthony. Like, that could be a case. But the thing I don't want to see early on is it's 3rd and 8, and then you're saying to yourself, well, we're just going to get out of here. Oh, no, 15-yard penalty because the cornerback didn't turn fast enough. So it was a pass interference call. Let's give them more momentum and continue to stay out here and gas our defense. That's number 2. Number 3, can the stars who are supposed to be the stars when you face off against Georgia be the stars against Wisconsin? Because I'm so sick and tired of hearing about players that are supposed to be primetime athletes, guys who are supposed to be fixtures of this team, not show up in the little games. Treat every game like it is a college football playoff appearance. Treat every single game like your life is on the line. Treat every single game like you're at Alabama. Like you're supposed to be here at a program that does not settle for mediocrity, never has settled for less than the best, and certainly has a standard, and you didn't meet it last year, and you certainly didn't even meet it in week 2, in my opinion, because if you still had careless penalties. So can you act like the Alabama with your stars and your fixtures, the focal points of your team, being able to show on up? I have a gut feeling I'm going to be wrong about this. I have a gut feeling that somehow, some way, I'm going to look stupid. Alabama's going to win this game and they're going to cover, but they're barely going to squeak by. Line set at 21.5. You should be a 3-touchdown favorite. But something tells me that once again, until I see it, it's just going to be a lot closer than I think actually happens. So I'm going to give you a final score of 42-20. I think late in the game, Danny O'Neal finds a way to at least gain a little bit of momentum. Alabama wins. Alabama's offense looks good. But still, the careless mistakes nearly allows you to even lose the backdoor cover. And honestly, I could see you actually hitting the backdoor cover. So make me wrong, Alabama. And by the way, as a Bama grad, I'm allowed to comment on how pathetic you guys still are looking at times. So start looking better and acting like the Crimson Tide of old.
Guys, there you have it. We'd love to hear from you. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree? We're both going with the Crimson Tide to win and take care of their business against Wisconsin. Once again, do y'all agree? Do y'all disagree? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Guys, it's going to do all for us. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Before we get out of here, do want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is getting you ready for the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets. If you win, that's right. Pick a bet $5. If it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines. Whatever your style, FanDuel's got you covered. The NFL season is here. The only question is, are you ready to play? Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Once again, FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. Guys, once again, that does it all for us. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Make sure, as always, you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, where you get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. For Cole the Bear Thompson, I'm Chris Phillips. We appreciate y'all signing off, saying so long. Y'all have a great rest of your day, and we will talk to you all on the other side.